Welcome back to the Crypto's Key conversation. Throughout this video, we're going to be looking at a lot of FUD that's in the market with, the Russian potentially invading Ukraine stuff. We're going to be looking at the Biden crypto executive action. We're going to be taking a look at what's going on with Canada and kind of how they're kind of seizing crowd funds for these trucker blockades. And we're going to see Jesse Powell's response to it. We're going to be looking at this great interview on Fox News where it says Marty Bent is teaching millions of people about Bitcoin and self-custodying. And then we're going to take a look at some positives that's going on within the space. So quickly looking at CoinGecko here, we're currently sitting at a $1.9 trillion market cap, currently down 0.6%. Looking at the top 10, Bitcoin sitting at 40,170, Ethereum sitting at 2,765, Tether's Tether, BNB sitting at $400, XRP sitting at 83 cents, Cardano sitting at 99 cents, Solana sitting at $91, Avalanche is sitting at $84, and Terra is sitting at $50. Looking at the top gainer in the past 24 hours, you have BitTorrent, XRP, Stellar. Quite interesting. Coming over here to the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index, as you can see, we're in this extreme fear range now. So just the other day, we were at 52. We were in that neutral range, and a lot of FUD and a lot of fear articles came out. A lot of headlines started surfacing, and it kicked us right back down into this extreme fear range. Completely bypassed the fear range. Well, we were in it for a second, but then we just shot right back down to extreme fear. So coming over here to CNBC, as you can see, there's a lot of red across the board. If we come over here to crypto, you do see some green, which is positive. But then when it comes to the S&P 500, the NASDAQ and stuff, we're down. Then you got headlines like this: NATO chief, Russia could invade Ukraine without any warning as Putin tests missile launches. So stuff like that creates a lot of uncertainty and fear in the markets. And not just our markets, as you can see, the regular markets as well. Coming over here, it says Russia's Ukraine threat and worries on Fed rate hikes could make for a turbulent week in markets. So obviously we're still dealing with, Jerome Powell and the Fed and their plan of attack when it comes to inflation. Obviously inflation was higher than they had predicted. So is Jerome Powell and the Fed going to take a super hawkish approach and, rate interest hikes or kick up the interest rates super high, being super aggressive about it, trying to combat that? What's going to be the approach? That uncertainty is causing a lot of turbulence within the market as we speak. So now coming over here, says the key points: tensions between Russia and Ukraine dominate market focus in the week ahead. Analysts are watching key technical levels for stocks during these volatile times. It's a busy week for economic reports, and Friday's personal consumption expenditure inflation data, so CPI, which is watched by the Federal Reserve, is among the most important. So there's going to be some huge data that's going to be coming out. This is the final rush of our earnings seasons, with Home Depot, Macy's, and other retail reporting, as well as a group of energy companies such as Occidental Petroleum and Coterra Energy. So there's a lot that's happening right now. There's so many things happening. You have inflation, and Jerome Powell and the Fed. You have the Russian Ukraine stuff, plus a lot of FUD articles within the crypto community. Then you have the Biden crypto executive action. So it says Biden expected to issue executive order on crypto and CBDCs next week's report. So both President Barack Obama and the previous administration issued executive orders related to digital assets. The White House will reportedly be issuing an executive order as early as next week, directing government agencies to study different aspects of the digital asset space with the goal of creating a comprehensive regulatory framework. So what does that mean? Is it going to be set in stone when it comes out in this so-called report that's going to be coming out? Or, are they going to, is President Biden and his administration going to utilize, like how they said they're going to go utilize these exchanges, retrieve these data from all these platforms and these exchanges at the second half of 2022, and then come out with a regulatory framework that everyone can kind of abide by? Just the unknowns is causing a lot of FUD and worries within the space because nobody knows what's going to happen. So coming over here, there's been a big talk about what's happening with Canada, and we covered it. We've covered this video here where they had, implemented pretty much cutting off people to their assets. And when it comes to these crowdfundings, whether it's GoFundMe and all these other stuff, when it comes to these truckers, they ended up cutting those off and seizing those assets, and now they're coming after digital assets. So obviously, if you have your money, your cryptocurrency on a centralized regulated platform, obviously they can cut off your access to those. Now if you self custody it and you have it on a your particular internet wallet, whether it be a MetaMask or whatever, or you're having it within your ledger or whatever the case is, obviously they can't do anything about it, but they're finding ways to cut off those on and off ramps for people that are contributing to these, these so-called trucker blockade things. So it says cryptocurrency experts say U.S. should watch the Canadian government is doing to protesters. No one is safe. U.S. government could very realistically attempt to punish prosecutors as the Canadian government is doing, the expert warned. So I mean, we all know that this is a reality. I mean, this is anything new. It's just happening in our face right now. And the thing that's hilarious is they really think that they have the ability to truly stop, blockchain and cryptocurrency. I mean, you can, like how we just talked about, you can cut off, people from, selling their assets on the centralized exchange to, convert back into fiat, but they can always find ways to pay, with things with their cryptocurrencies or, go peer to peer and start swapping assets, to fund whatever they need to fund. So Jesse Powell is the co-founder CEO of Kraken FX, and he says he's responding to this. He says due process is for plebs. Might makes right in Canada. If someone dissents, you just confiscate their wealth, revoke their license, exclude them from the financial system, and kill their pets. No need to debate the law, policy, or even rights when you have a monopoly on violence. And then this gentleman, it says Dej D-Rat says, it's possible Kraken will put in position where we're told to freeze assets by police without judicial consent, and we'll probably comply. So Jesse Powell responded, this is huge. He says 100% yes, it has / will happen, and 100% yes, we will be forced to comply. If you are worried about it, don't keep your funds with any centralized regulated custodian. We cannot protect you. Get your coins, cash out, and only trade peer to peer. So for a co-founder and CEO of Kraken, a huge exchange that is pretty much telling the people that are funding his business and his livelihood, like, hey, this is just a reality. We can't protect you. Use peer to peer. That's actually pretty solid, man. I kind of respect that, but that's the truth. And coming over here, Pomp had put up this tweet here. It says, here is Marty Bent teaching millions of people about Bitcoin and self-custody. Bitcoin is inevitable. So let's take a listen into this.
They don't like their Twitter feeds. People tend not to trust banks. You can get bank runs. They understand that. There's a lot of volatility ahead. This is a scary moment. Marty Bent is the founder of Tales from the Crypto, a Bitcoin podcast. He joins us tonight to explain. Marty, thanks so much for coming on. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this, and it's easy to play the tape of people getting run over by horses, but the idea they could just seize your digital currency strikes me as a very big deal.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on, Tucker. But yes, they can only seize your digital currency, your Bitcoin, if you're holding it on an exchange, like you mentioned. It's much harder for them to seize it if you're in control of your Bitcoin by holding your own private keys, which is the beauty and the importance of Bitcoin as a monetary revolution. It allows you to actually control your money. It is a digital bearer instrument. It is digital cash. So as long as people are taking control of their own private keys, it's significantly harder to stop the spread of Bitcoin and prevent people from sending transactions.
So that's, without getting too technical here, and thank you for saying that. So the promise of cryptocurrency is still in place, that you can operate transactionally without government oversight. How complicated is it not to use an exchange but to hold the keys for yourself? Could the average person do something like that?
Yeah, it's very easy. I mean, there's plenty of mobile apps that you can go download, whether it be Blue Wallet, Green Wallet. You can find those in your iOS stores or Android apps. These are open source wallets that anybody can download and easily create private keys, send their Bitcoin from an exchange directly to a wallet. They can back up their wallet with 12 words that if they were able to memorize them, theoretically they could walk around with their Bitcoin in their heads. So it's very simple to access the software that enables you to take control of your Bitcoin and actually custody it yourself.
I mean, you got to think, if they're zeroing out people's bank accounts for political reasons, there's going to be a rush to cryptocurrency. I mean, in one sentence, do you expect that? Do you expect crypto to become more popular after this?
I think certainly we've seen the actions by the Canadian government wake people up, like, oh, if they can do this to our bank accounts.
So that's kind of what I've been talking about in our past videos when we were talking about this Canadian stuff and their seizing of, crowdfunding, crowdfunded pots of money to support specific causes and trying to seize and cut off people from their assets. I was saying, like, what they don't realize is they're driving people. When I say them, I mean, the Canadian government. They're driving people, toward crypto, because you can't stop blockchain. You can't stop crypto. There's always a way, like how they say, self-custodying, peer-to-peer, swapping, paying for things with your crypto. There's a way to do that, and they can't stop it. So they're just pushing people further into the crypto space, which is huge for us, because all it does is show how powerful and how meaningful and purposeful the crypto space is, and what blockchain technology and crypto has to offer to the world. It's absolutely massive. I want to thank Pomp for tweeting that, and I want to thank Fox News. That was huge. That's a huge segment right there. Continuing on here, this says, how Bitcoin can help us escape Canada's dystopian financial censorship. So we just talked about that, but I thought this headline from Washington Examiner was huge. So you can go in here and kind of take a read, but we've already just covered it. Mainly just self-custodying and kind of doing things off of central entities that are, regulated by these governments. Coming over here, some positives here. Says, this from Bitcoin Magazine, former Russian Minister of Finance, banning Bitcoin would be like banning the internet. Yeah, I think that's quite evident. We all believe that, and that's huge. And we know that when it comes to Russia, they went from being in the sense of banning it to completely 180 in it and flipping the script real quick. And now we're on this power speed train of trying to get regulation through and trying to make Bitcoin and crypto legal currencies out there. So it's absolutely massive. So coming over here, I think this is massive. This from Blackboard says, just in, Fed to ban senior officials from trading crypto among others after a trading scandal. So I don't want to get too far into it, but we, for us, that's been, paying attention to the markets, especially paying attention to crypto. We've seen the shadiness that's been happening, the insider trading. Obviously, with these government officials being able to trade individual stocks or invest in certain digital assets, it's like they have inside information. They're the ones making the policy. So with that inside information, they can go in and invest and turn a massive profit, which we've seen within our government officials in the U.S. and the stock market. Them, I guess there was like 10 plus government officials that crushed the markets. They crushed, indexes, which obviously they know stuff. So it's like, to see this is huge. But like at this point, Blockchain Backer had brought up a good point. The I think it was S&P. Can't remember what index it was or whatever. But anyways, it already hit the 4.236 extension, pretty much hitting the top. So like the fact that, now they're trying to say, okay, government officials can't, trade individual stocks or whatever. It's like, okay, well, they already have their cash out plan going on. So like why all of a sudden you say it now? I thought that was quite interesting that BC Backer had brought that up. And if I ever come across that tweet again, I'll be sure to put it in the video. But this is huge stuff right here. And it says most of the restrictions will take effect on May 1st, 2022, although the new rules on the advance notice and pre-clearance of transactions will take effect on July 1st. So I think that's a huge positive. Coming over here, Kevin O'Leary. So this is a gentleman that had high reservations against Bitcoin, the cryptocurrency, for some time. Who knows if he was accumulating during those times, but now he's just like super bullish on Bitcoin and the crypto market. He says, this is from Kevin O'Leary, Bitcoin will hit 300,000 when institutions start buying it. So we know there's a lot of major, corporations, businesses, and institutions that's already been purchasing Bitcoin and digital assets. So once the floodgates are really open and they all really start diving in, once we get that regulatory clarity that this space needs, oh yeah, Bitcoin is going to be well beyond this. I truly believe that. Coming over here, this is another one, Blockworks, companies about the metaverse. So Apple, we see a lot of potential. Microsoft, it's the next wave of the internet. JP Morgan, it is a 1 trillion per year market opportunity. Goldman Sachs, it's a 8 trillion revenue opportunity. And then Bank of America, it's like the social media in its beginning. This is absolutely massive. These are massive companies. Massive, they have a lot of money, a lot of assets under management, a lot of resources and manpower to really build out this metaverse narrative. This is absolutely huge. I'm going to end on this one here. It says, in the last 6 months, Bitcoin's down 8%. And if you come down here, you got Salesforce down 18%, Netflix down 24%, Adobe down 28%. Rivian down 35%, Facebook 40%, Shopify 54%, PayPal 60%, Square 60%, and Moderna 63%. So as you can see, look at Bitcoin. So that, as we've been talking about, Bitcoin and crypto is looking at a hedge against inflation, and people are starting to see the writing on the wall when it comes to the crypto space. They see that this digital assets, blockchain technology, and all the sectors that's within the crypto space has a lot to offer to our everyday lives. Efficiency, innovation, growth. We're so early. This is the beginning. The writing's on the wall, and people are seeing it. With all that being said, stay strong out there. Be safe.